Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Meg. Hi, Jody. We have embroidery, art by Nat. We have Veronica. Ow. All right. I have a feeling that these are the same color. Yes. Okay, so today we're going to do 2 stitches. They look almost the same, but they're definitely different. Let me just go grab another color because I've chosen the exact same color that I used for this. And I really can't be having these 2 the same color as that one. So let me just grab a different one. Maybe that one, maybe that one, maybe this one. Okay. I've got a couple. I can do. Maybe this one. This one will be okay. All right, we're going to use all 6 strands. And we're going to do the fly stitch and the fern stitch. And this is why we couldn't do the stitches until the very end, because all of these stitches all of these leaves had to be filled in before we did these. So if you have not done all of these leaves, I think there's 11 or 12 in total. Yeah, 12. Make sure that you stitch these first, because these long things here, we're going to stitch straight over top. PSA, yeah? Oh, I dropped my needle again. Man, not getting along very well with these needles at the moment. So after this, today, tomorrow we'll have a French knot day, and we'll do a little bit of a catch up. So we have these right here to do still. I did say yesterday that you could finish them. And then we have these little flowers over here to do still. French knots, and then that's pretty much it. So there we go. We're almost done. So sad. I think I'll probably cry when I say goodbye to you guys. All right, so first we will do the fly stitch. Now these are going to look super similar, but they are different. With the fly stitch, you get more of a kind of bended V, whereas the fern stitch, it's a specific set of instructions, like a method of how your stitches should be. So it's like 1, 2, like an actual way. Like they have to go that way. Fly stitch is kind of similar, but it's more direct, if that makes sense. So I'll do the fly stitch first for this one here. You can choose whichever one you want. It doesn't matter. They both look very similar in the end, so it's really just whichever you feel like. So first we'll do the fly stitch. You're going to start. Let's see if I should zoom in first. There we go. You're going to start with a straight stitch. I'm going to try and make these V's a little bit more even. But of course, you can just follow the ones that I've already done. You're going to come up on the left. Yes, I'm going to stitch right on top of all of these. You're going to go down on the right. So I'm right-handed, so I tend to go from left to right. But if you're left-handed and you want to go from right to left, that's totally okay too. You're going to leave this loop like this and come up right here where you just went down. Yeah. And then pull it tight and make another straight line. Okay, so there's your first one. Up on the left, down on the right, leave your loop. You're going to come up right where you went down. Okay, and then obviously to end it, you need to go back down. So now we've done 2. And we're just going to keep on going like that the whole way. So yes, you are going to stitch straight over top of these. And that's because these here are in the foreground and those flowers are in the background. So you gotta. Jody says, do you have to pin the stalk with a tiny stitch after, or does it not matter? What do you mean? So this right here is just being held down by this straight stitch that we make at the end. So the first one is just a straight stitch, but after these ones right here, these are just a straight stitch to keep it down, to keep this one down. So you don't have to pin any of these, if that's what you mean. Normally, I would probably make these a bit more closer together, but this is kind of how I've drawn them out. So just decided to go with it, if that makes sense. Whereas I think normally, I would keep these ones a little bit shorter, but it doesn't matter how far apart these are. Does that make sense? So you can make them much longer or you can make them shorter. It's totally up to you. I think personally, I would normally make them a bit closer together, but that's just personal preference. It's not necessarily like how you have to do it or how like you're meant to do it. Also, Jody, I hope you're feeling better. And really, however far you decide, I would suggest trying to keep the same distance between them, not have one that's really close and then the next one like really far and one really close. I mean, I'm not going to measure, so like not that kind of a way, but Jody says, I'm at work watching you procrastinating. I get to work from home tomorrow. Yes. Like, obviously, I'm going off script now because I'm like nowhere near where I should be for these. But that's all right. Okay, also, make sure that you go through the same hole and not leave any space between, or you'll get this kind of situation. Do you see what I've done here? So I left some space in between. I didn't go through the same hole, and therefore you've got a little space there. Definitely not going to go fix it. Someone says, do you always use 6 strands? No, I don't always use 6 strands. A lot of times I'll use 3 or 2 or 1. It just depends on what I'm doing. This needs a thicker line, so that's what I've got to do. It really just depends on how thick a line that you want. Because I'm stitching over top of other stitches, if I used three strands or 2 strands, it wouldn't be as bold of a line. And then at that point, I would have said, why even bother doing it? Because if it's not going to stand out and look like it's in front, then what's the point? Now, if I had a smaller hoop, because this is an 8-inch hoop, if I had a smaller hoop, then I would probably take everything down to 3 strands. Every single thing, except for the thread painting, which is 1, and probably the woven wagon wheels because they're meant to be fluffy. So that would probably be 6. But yeah, everything else I would probably, and the turkey work at the top because that's also meant to be fluffy. So yeah, I would probably take almost everything down to 4 or 3. So a lot of it depends on what you're stitching, and a lot of it depends on how big of a hoop you're using. Because if you're going to use a huge hoop and have, you know, 2 or 1 strands for everything, you're going to be at it for a while. I'm just doing my last one with the fly stitch, and then I'm going to go over to the stalk next to it and do the fern stitch. And the fern stitch is another one of these where there is a method, there are steps, and you do have to do them in the same order. So let me just snip this, make sure that that bottom is tight because I've just pulled it a bunch. Okay, and then I'll go straight over up here. So to start this one, it's just the same as the fly stitch. You're gonna go a straight stitch down. And this one uses all straight stitches. So for each part, it's gonna be a straight stitch in a certain formation. So it's nothing to do with like, oh, it's a hard stitch or anything like that. It's literally just the order of the stitches. So we'll go 1 down. Yeah, 1 down. To the left. Same hole. To the right. Same hole. Because obviously we can't go down. We're going to go from the down up. So back up. Yeah, and then we start again. Left. Right. Or right, then left. It's up to you. Then up. Now the same thing goes for this one that goes for this one. Of course, you can make them different lengths. So you could just kind of start off small here and by the bottom have them be really long to kind of make like a, you know, one of these shapes. Obviously not in this hoop because that would be way too big. But it's another one of those where whatever you decide, try and keep them the same space away as best as you can. I'm not going to measure and I'm not going to judge. Oh, that one's a little too far apart. It doesn't matter that much. It's all nature stuff, yeah? So and then obviously you can get a little bit fancy if you wanted to and mix threads. You can use variegated threads. You could do, by mixed threads, I mean, do like 2 strands of one and 2 strands of another. So you can give it a bit of, you know, jazz. All right, almost finished. Obviously, if you don't want to do more work towards the end of the week, if you have more time now, then you can complete some of the things that I said at the beginning of the video, like these ones right here. Choose a stitch, fill it in. Totally up to you what you want to do with it. Tomorrow is going to be French knot day, so we're going to talk everything about French knots. I'm going to end up doing the same video twice so that on YouTube I can make them into the playlists. So I'm sorry if you watch the first one and then also watch the second one, because they're definitely going to be the same, well, nearly the same. Obviously for this one, I'll show you which parts you can fill in with which stitches and everything. Same as the free one, there'll be different parts you can fill in for different things. So come and watch both. Why not? And this one kind of disappears right into this leaf, so it doesn't actually go on top. Just kind of disappears behind it. So I'm just going to put one little stem here. And that will be it. So there we go. I still have to outline my monstera leaves and put the stems on them. So you can do a split stitch for the stems, or you can continue with the stem stitch for the stems. Totally up to you. And I filled in these ones here this morning, and I finished my variegated stalks. I think I've just got these two leaves to do. This one and that one, and I think it's the same color. So yeah, and then we'll do French knots tomorrow, and hopefully everything will be nearly done. So there you go. That's it for me. So I hope you have a lovely, lovely Wednesday. I do like the fly stitch on the back because it looks so cool, doesn't it? So enjoy your day, and I will talk with you tomorrow. Bye.